Chair Jackson and members of the Safety Advisory Commission, thank you for giving me the opportunity to testify before you today. My name is Stephen David. I'm a social worker and I live on the south side of Marion Village. Every morning when I walk my dog, I resolve to pick up one piece of litter from the streets in my neighborhood. This practice took on a different meaning for me the last time that I did a ride-along with Columbus Police in the 13th Precinct where I live. I was with a group of 4 officers when they stopped a car on South High Street, and after searching the vehicle, the officer that I was with removed his latex gloves and simply discarded them on the curb. That moment has stuck with me as it spoke to me about his perception of our neighborhood, one that he drives 45 minutes in every evening to police. Coming from his suburban home into Reeb-Hosack, it is little surprise to me that he found it acceptable to discard his gloves like litter in my neighborhood. Now, this is obviously an insignificant incident in the context of our conversation here. But now when I walk my dog in the morning and I come across a pair of discarded blue gloves, my mind is taken to the bigger issue. I can't help but think about Jerron Thomas being beaten to death by Columbus Police after calling for an ambulance when he's experiencing a mental health crisis, or Donna Dalton being abducted by a vice officer and murdered when she tried to escape, or 17-year-old Mason Sanders currently sitting in jail despite not being physically present when the police shot and killed her boyfriend. I lift up these stories because I believe that they cannot be separated from the insignificant act of littering a pair of gloves in my neighborhood. The small actions of police officers and their relationships to our neighborhoods cannot be separated from this larger crisis of confidence and the well-perceived culture of impunity that protects police in this city. I believe that bold action needs to be taken in order to change the culture of policing in Columbus. I would like to see a deliberate shift to multidisciplinary teams that can involve the dispatch of social workers, community connectors, and health workers, programs like we just heard spoken about before me, folks whose practices can link to upstream interventions that address the root causes of violence and the real needs of our communities. Rather than have this body make recommendations for more funding for training or equipment, I hope that I would like to see public dollars directed away from the division of police and into programs like public health and parks and rec that promote programs like violence intervention, restorative practices, and healing after trauma. There is no shortage of models available for us to reimagine how we think about public safety if we are willing to invest in those models. I thank you all for your time, and I'm open to answering any questions.
Hello, Mr. David. Thank you again. Is there a particular restorative justice model you would recommend?
So, I would point to the work that is currently being done in the Parks Department through the APPS program and some of the violence intervention specialists. I believe that we have folks on the commission who are familiar with those programs, as well as work that is being done through. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name of the organization that is run by Thel Robinson, was formerly a Thug as a Dud, but is now other violence intervention programs that reach. Yes, halt violence, thank y'all. So these practices that reach out to people who are immediately affected by violence. I will say that back this past November, there was a shooting on my block, and after the police could not make any arrests, they simply left and was no follow-up. I took it upon myself to follow up with the family and make a referral to the APPS program, to violence intervention specialists there. There's the capacity to actually intervene with at-risk youth, especially who are tied up in these cycles of retribution that are the root cause of a lot of the violence we see in our neighborhoods, but we're not making the investment in those programs like we are in the other policing strategies.
Thank you very much.
Cool, thank you.